So I've got my assembly instructions here. That's the first thing I see, which is fortunate because I think I'm going to need these. Then we've got our, looks like our top and bottom panels. So, yep. And then next, it looks like these are our rounded corners, and they look very well made. Next, we have our snare and the playing surface, which looks really nice. And here we have the back of the cajon, obviously with the sound hole and the information about CaSela there. And then we have the side panels, and two of those obviously. And we have, these things are the, this is the snare holders. These attach to the inside so that you can fix the snare to these. So we'll put these over by the snare. And then this is your measuring device. I think basically this is so you can get the correct distance where to put the snare holders. And then the rubber feet here and the screws. So that's what we have in the box. Okay, so here I am. I've got all my components laid out in front of me. As you can see, I've got my instruction manual here. I've got my drill and I've got my hammer. These are the two things that I need to put this cajon together. Included in it was also a nail, which is what we're going to use to basically kind of bore out the holes to put the screws in when we put the back side and the front playing surface on the cajon. So I've never done this before. This is the first time I've ever put one of these cajons together. It's the first time I've put any cajon together. And the first thing I kind of think is that this has been very well thought out. You can see that the quality of the whole package is really good. So I don't feel so nervous about putting it together. I think someone like me who's never done it before is gonna be pretty capable of doing this. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of the side panels and we're gonna attach a rounded corner to it. And it goes in like so. Just like that. Looks good. And then we take our drill, and just so you know, the drill bit, I was kind of worried about the drill bit. I thought, I hope I have it, but it actually comes with the drill bit that you need in the package. So there's two different types of screws. There's a brass colored one and there's a silver colored one. And the brass colored one is used for all the internal components, and the silver ones are used to attach the front and the back panels. So make sure you use the right screws for each different bit. Here goes. Now, once again, this is a first for me, so I'm a little nervous, but the CaSela guys have really put me at ease with their easy to follow instructions and well-made components. The first one. All right, and we're off. It seemed to work out. Okay, now we're going to attach the bottom or the top, whatever it ends up being. We need to make sure that we get the right side so that it ends up being flat on the top. Just like so. And then we're going to screw that too. This really is quite easy. I'm sure there are workmen out there and carpenters that are wondering what the hell I'm doing with my drill technique, but it seems to be working okay. Looks good. Alright, so now we just put this aside and we're going to make up the other one. So there should be one that's going to be identical to that. So we take another corner and the side panel, and I can already feel myself becoming more confident at this stage. Hopefully that's not a bad thing. And no, you need to do that the other way. It's very important you make sure that it's flush and flat on the corner, on the edge here. And then take the bottom or the top, whatever it ends up being, and we place it like so into the rounded corner, making sure that it's all even and flush so that it's not hanging over the edge. That looks good. Checking my workmanship there. This drill's quite cool because it's got a wee light on it there, see? So that looks good. Okay, so now we've got our two ends here, our two sides and bottom and top, and they're going to fit together very nicely with a rounded corner, I can see. So that, I'm pretty excited about that. I seem to have got all the edges flush, which is a fundamental thing. So I'm going to put these just over to the side here and have a look at what my next step is. So my next step is I'm going to attach the other two rounded corners to each side. This really is kind of fun. And now we'll get the other one, the final remaining corner, attached. Make sure I've done this right. That'll go into there, and then this will go into here. Drill bit came out again, but that's no big thing. Looks good. All right, this is exciting. Starting to take shape here, literally. Just have a wee look. Yeah, starts to look like a cajon. So the next bit is we're going to attach the snare holders. I've got two of these, and this is a very important bit to make sure you get it on the right side of the side panel on the inside. You'll see what I mean. So the way the instructions have kind of got it looking like is that you have one here and one here. So in theory, when you flip it, it should be on, yep, on the opposite side, so it'll be sitting there like that. So the two of them will be there, and this will be the bottom of the cajon. So the snare will go in here. So we're going to take our measurer here. This is just a simple piece of plywood that Marcus has included so that you can measure the distance from the edge to where you place the snare holder. So there we go. It's pretty easy to use. Fits on like this. Right to the corner there. And all looks good. Now, kind of comes away a little bit, so you want to just make sure that you get it back to the right place once you put the screw in there. All right, that looks good. I guess it's gonna go in like that. So let's now do the next one. And if you lay them flat like this, like alongside each other, one of them should be here and the other one should be here on the other side, like so. All right, so the snare holders look like they're in the right place. Just have a wee look. Yep. And that was the bit that I was kind of most afraid of up to this point, because I wanted to make sure that that I had them in the right place, you know, because if you get it in the wrong bit, then you end up drilling holes in the cajon for no good reason, and that's not good. So now we're gonna basically put the cajon body together, and we're gonna take each end and make sure that they go to the right place. So this, with the snare holder, is going to be the bottom. So this is very exciting. It's starting to look like a cajon. Wow. And I must say, everything, like the craftsmanship of the components is, I mean, it's so good. It's just beautiful, and I'm really having a lot of fun here putting this together. And now I'm going to screw it all together so it's a body. I mean, you really can't go wrong with this thing. Even someone like me, who is by no means a carpenter. All right. Yeah. Cool. And I tell you, like, even though these pieces have been put together with the utmost craftsmanship, you really feel like you're building your own instrument. Like, I feel like it's really good. I mean, I feel a kind of attachment to it because I'm like putting it together. So now let's put on the back side, so to speak, of the cajon with the hole, the sound hole, and now this is where our hammer and nail are going to come into play. Now we're not nailing it in, we're not using nails, but we just have a nail so we can bore a hole through the surface here so that we can then apply a screw. Now a good thing to do with these back side and front side surfaces is to apply a wee bit of tape to the top corners just to keep them in place. And Marcus at CaSela, he suggested to do this just to make sure just to make sure everything is in the correct place. Just a wee bit of Scotch tape, of course. Okay, so now we take our hammer and our nail and we're going to bore out a couple of holes so we can screw in the screws more evenly. So I'm going to start at the top corner here and I'm going to go to the next corner just so we get it even. That looks good to me. Then we're going to take our silver screws. So that's what we're going to use for the back and the front. Yeah. Do the corners first. And I'm going to do the bottom corners now. Just 1 to 2 millimeters. Oh dear. And using the hammer and nail, I must say, really, it does guide the screw in nicely. There's the cat. Now we're just going to repeat the whole process going around with the nail. Here we go. There we have it. Now we'll take our tape off. And to be honest, that was by far the most time-consuming bit. And there we have a Cajon with a back side, 2 sides, a top and a bottom, and some snare holders. The only thing that's missing is a fairly important part, which is the playing surface. Screwing on the playing surface, step 3. So it's really it's the same exercise basically as putting on the back side, except for the fundamental thing you want to make sure, and I'm not trying to insinuate that anyone is stupid by any means, but please make sure that you get the logo at the bottom of the Cajon, so where the snare holders are. Man, this is a cool thing. So now we're going to take our hammer and our nail and we're going to bore out the holes so we can screw it on. And you'll notice that the holes are a little different on the top here. This side one is a little closer to the one below it to give it a little more room here, and that's for the slap corners that Marcus has included in this design, which gives the slap and the snare a really good solid slap. I'm going to start with the bottom. This time I'm going to attach the bottom screws first. Okay, so we're pretty solid there. I'm now going to take the hammer and the nail and I'm going to go and bore out the rest of the holes here. Alright. Make sure everything's okay, and then I'm gonna go for it and add the final screws to the playing surface. So there we have the playing surface screwed on, and I'm going to take my tape off now. Okay, so this looks fairly straightforward. I guess we just take the measuring device and we use the other side of it to measure how far from the front, and we just have it on the side here. We measure it and make sure that you're going to screw it into the bottom of the Cajon, not the corner. Don't screw it into the corner. That's kind of what I see. And obviously make sure that you put it on the right side. Cool. Looks good. It's kind of tricky a wee bit to get the screw in. I suppose what I could do is I could bore a hole. You know, as I said before, I'm not a carpenter, but this is a wee bit tricky, so I think I'm going to bore a hole just to guide the screw. And I should have probably done that for the others, but they seem to work out okay. And that worked out much better, so I would probably recommend doing that. Just a couple of taps just to put a wee divot in there. And we're going to take the snare, final step, facing out the way, put it in the hole, the sound hole, and slot it down against the playing surface. And there it is, the CaSela satin nut professional snare cajon. And I must say that was really very straightforward. Takes a little bit of brain power just to make sure that you get everything even, but I really had a good time building that. That was so much fun. And the craftsmanship that's gone into building and developing the components is really incredible. As I said, it was really straightforward to put it together. Just takes a little brain power, I guess, to make sure that you get everything even and in the right spots. But I really am very happy with this result. It was a really fun project, and I would recommend trying it out. If you want a cajon and you want to build it yourself, go for it. That is a very fun project.